Right, y'all, so today we are gonna start this haircut off with a mid fade, and we're gonna be doing some texture on top. So first I'm gonna take my clipper, and with the blade closed, I'm going to make my first guideline, or first bald line really, and then from there I'll open it up and create my first bar with the blade open. Now you guys know how I like to do. I like to make that first bar with the blade open and then start from closed and slowly work up notch by notch until that bar is completely faded out. And then here we're gonna grab the number one guard all the way open and create our next bar. And then from there we will blend that bar out as well. So that was the one open. Let's close it up. And we will come right up below where we were with the number one open, with the number one closed. And then from there, we'll go to the zero guard, and we should be able to knock out the rest of that line right there. If there is any more dark spots or anything else that's there that you need to clean up, feel free to take the zero guard off, open your clipper up all the way and kind of pluck out all the dark spots, because that line was put in with the blade open, so the blade open should be what gets it out. I find that the bulk of the blending that I do when I'm fading is done with either the one guard or this half guard right here, this zero guard, just because I feel like it's the best from getting you to that, getting able to pluck out that dark spots, but also getting you to that light to dark transition. So now we're gonna take our number two. This is the green Tune 45 number two for their new clipper they came out with Babyliss. I really love this card right here. Like, I think something about this number two allows me to like blend straight into it with the number one open. I've been skipping the half guard every day. I'm sorry, I've been skipping the 1.5 guard every single day and just going straight from the number one open to the number two. And that's been working out really well. Now right here behind the ear, you want to be a little bit careful because that is where the mastoid bone is. So where the back of the head rounds into the front, there is a bone there, and most people have like a small like dip in that area in the skull. Like the skull is not perfectly round right there. So because there's like a dip in the skull, you may have to put a little bit of extra work in that spot in order to get the transition to flow smoothly. The areas around it might be a number one, but you might have to go in with the blade open in that spot in order to get it to blend, depending on the person's hair and their head shape. So now we're on to the other side. So let's see if you guys can follow along. Let's see if you guys can kind of predict the steps that I'm gonna do before I even do them. If you were paying attention on the other side, you should be able to. See right here, we're back in with our number one guard open. We're gonna create our next bar. And then slowly blend that out. I feel like the bulk of this haircut is the most amount of time that's gonna be used in this haircut is gonna be for the fade. It's not gonna take me a super long time to add some texture in the top. It's not gonna take me a super long time to line him up or to use the shaver or whatever like that. The bulk of the time that I'm gonna need in this haircut is with this fade. So I figured that is the thing that we're gonna tackle first and spend the most of our time on. So we should be done this in like 15 minutes, and then we'll have the other 15 minutes in order to detail, cut the top, line up, do whatever we gotta do. And you guys, I've been working really hard trying to keep my shoulder out of the shot. So actually for this haircut, it looks like I'm, straight on to the side of his head, but actually I'm standing off to the side a little bit so that you guys aren't looking at my shoulder the whole time during this cut. But if you like this angle, if this helps, if it's a little bit more visible than some of the other videos that I've been putting out recently, put it in the comments, let me know. So now we're working on the back of the head, because I like to work on what's in front of me. I don't want to do the sort of typewriter thing where you're spinning the client the entire time getting the fade done. I want to work on one side, then work on the other side, then work on the back, so I can just focus right on what's in front of me and then, marry the three of them into each other. And you can see there above his occipital bone, there is a lot of bulk there. And because of his head shape, we want to keep that bulk. So I'm gonna do my best not to, go up into like above his occipital. I want to keep all of that bulk there so it keeps the shape of the haircut. That's something that's really important, you guys, is you don't want to just give everybody the same haircut. You want to tailor your client's haircut to their head so that it looks good on them. Because if you just run a number 2 up on everybody, it's not going to work. So make sure that you're paying attention to the client's head shape. Make sure you're paying attention to, their hair pattern, dips in the skull. All of that stuff is very important when it comes to giving your client the best possible look that they can have. Right here, I am just taking my trimmer. You see, since we went in with the clipper closed first, there's only a little bit of hair to just knock out at the bottom and blend right into the clipper closed. And then at the very bottom of the neck, I can hit it with the shaver. So now I don't have to worry about, there's this hard shaver line in the middle of my fade that I can't get out, because the shaver is the last thing. So all we're doing is really just flicking up into what we did with the trimmer. At the very bottom, you can press and make sure that you're close, and then as you get up, you flick out. Now right here, there was a line of demarcation right where that long hair kind of starts to fall into the fade. So instead of using clipper over comb, I decided to use my shears in order to soften up that line of demarcation and kind of get a smooth transition between the long hair up top and the fade that we have on the sides. Now with a line of demarcation, the reason that that's there is because you have longer hair hanging over top of the short hair. So we want to knock out the long hair, make sure that it's blended in, and then if there's any bulk left in the area that we blended in, we want to use our thinning shears to tackle that. What a lot of barbers do is they'll do the reverse. They'll go in with their thinning shears first to knock out a line of demarcation. The problem is the thinning shears, because it has the teeth, it's going to cut some hair long, some hair short, some hair long, some hair short. So you're still going to have that flap of long hair hanging over the short hair. You need to blend the hair in first before you start removing the thickness of it. So that's why we go in with our regular shears first. Then, as you'll see right here, we're going in with our thinning shears. And with the thinning shears, you don't really want to cut too deep. You're kind of just focused on the ends of the hair. If you go too deep with thinning shears, you can mess around and give your client like a real thin spot, or almost like a bald spot. You don't want to do that. Or you could have like hairs laying down, but then the part where you took a deep chomp with the thinning shear, now you've got hair sticking up. You don't want that. So right here, I'm just going to quickly line my client up. He's just gonna get a nice C cup and the vertical bars. We're not gonna do his front edge because he has such long hair. Honestly, I feel like it would be a sin to line his front up. You know, he would look crazy. I've had to argue clients into leaving their front edge natural because lineups just don't work on everybody or on every hairstyle. If you have longer hair up top, odds are I'm gonna do my best to leave your front line natural so that all those long hairs in the very front can flow into whatever style you're working with. And now here we're gonna come in with the shaver. And like I said, because the shaver is last, we don't have to worry about creating a line in the middle of our fade. We're just gonna knock all the hair off the bottom, and then if there's anything to detail, we can just come back real quickly with the trimmer and maybe tap at a dark spot or two. But that's about it. So now we're gonna hit them with the razor, and then here we wet the top, and I'm gonna show you guys how I tackle the top, trying to add texture without taking any length. We don't want to take any length from the haircut. So like I've told you guys before, you just want to imagine a box on the top of your client's head and then pull the hair to the sides of that box for whatever is appropriate for that haircut. So I'm literally just pulling everything to the side, and this is so that we can make sure that no hair is falling over the sides. We don't want any type of undercut at all. We want everything to blend in smoothly to the fade that we did on the side. And I'm barely removing anything, like less than 1/8 of an inch of hair if it's sticking off. There's not really much there. But you see that hair in the front is pretty short. It's not reaching all the way over, so I don't even want to go over and cut that, because if I do, I'm gonna make it too short. Now, I am combing all the hair into place, starting from the cowlick in the back. We'll comb all the hair into place, and I'm gonna comb all the hair to the left side. So from right to left. And I will start with my shear from right to left, and I will just slice right through. I'm not closing my shear all the way. I'm only closing it maybe about 1/4 of a way, just enough to slice some of the hair. So imagine if you have one strand of hair and you cut it in half long ways, that's what we're doing. We're taking some of the thickness out, we're adding some of that kind of like piecey, like chunky texture into his hair. Now, when you comb the hair from right to left, and then you start on the right and go to the left, you'll get probably the least amount of texture that this technique will offer. What I did here was I combed all the hair straight down, and then I did the exact same technique. Combing it straight down is gonna give me a little bit more texture. And then if I was to comb the hair, say from right to left, but I was to bring the scissor from left to right, so going in the opposite direction, that's when I would get the maximum amount of texture that this technique could get me. The issue with that is I've seen when you go the opposite way, I've seen it can be uncomfortable for some clients, and you have to be careful because you can mess around and put a nice size hole in somebody's head with this. So I always either like to start, if I comb it right to left, then I'll start right to left, or I'll comb it straight down and then go side to side. And right here, I put some Tomb 45 indestructible clay in his hair. I want to give him that sort of like beachy, kind of surfer vibe look. So we're just bunching all the hair together. We've got it on high heat, medium speed, so that we can kind of manipulate the hair and that so the air doesn't just blow the hair all around. And there we go. That's the finished product. My client was hyped because I told him he looked like Cooper DeJean. But I hope you guys enjoy this. Peace.